love to have a real conversation with you about the issues. You've noted you think Republicans are afraid to debate you or talk to you or discuss the issues with you. Not only am I eager to discuss the issues with you, I'm willing to offer $10,000 to your campaign today.
Wow. All right. First, the challenge, and then the rejection. Conservative commentator Ben Shapiro calling for a debate with Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He wants to debate her. He wants to debate her on the issues. The New York congressional candidate taking issue with Ben Shapiro, tweeting out, "Just like catcalling, I don't owe a response to unsolicited requests from men with bad intentions." And also, like catcalling, for some reason, they feel entitled to one. Whoa, all right. We called Ocasio-Cortez and we asked her to come on the show. She has yet to respond. But you know who did respond? None other than Ben Shapiro for his first interview since that tweet. Ben, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Making
First of all,
I
just want to know quickly.
She's making news with you here. Go ahead.
Quick comment. First of all, how dare you catcall Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by inviting her on your show? I mean, how dare you? That's sexism in action right there.
Yeah, apparently. You know, what do you think of that, though? I mean, to use that term, which, you know, that's just to remind everyone, a woman's walking down the street and someone, you know, whistles or something, that's catcalling. How is what you did, asking her to have an intellectual debate on the actual issues, how is that in any way relevant or similar to a catcall?
Catcalling must be very weird in Queens. I don't know if they're like construction workers standing on street corners and shouting to women, "Hey, baby, want to have an hour-long public conversation about trade policy and the vagaries of Viennese economics versus neo-Marxist economics?" It gets strange in her district, apparently. But again, this is so many folks on the left jumping to a sort of intersectional defense in which anybody who requests a discussion or a debate must be evil by their very nature, right? I'm a man, therefore I am catcalling her, even though as an Orthodox Jew, I have never catcalled a woman in my entire life. It's catcalling because I guess if I suggest that I want to have a conversation, I'm demanding a response. Well, every request is a request. All she had to say here was, nah, that would have been fine. I mean, she's got that prerogative, but she goes around talking about how...
Though? I mean, that's part of our platform,
absolutely.
Right? Everybody's a victim, and you know, we need to take as much money as we can from everybody else to redistribute it. That's what socialism is about. So is she just playing that victim card?
No question. And the fact that she feels the necessity to go to this particular card, right, to play the I'm a female and therefore I'm being victimized, this is like catcalling. The fact she goes there instead of just saying, you know what, I'm not interested in debate, the reason she didn't say the latter is because she didn't want to look like she was afraid. And she's been going around on the internet suggesting that people like Ali Stuckey are afraid of her when they make satire about her, or that people on the right are deeply afraid of her perspective. And then the minute that somebody says, you know what, I'm willing to have a discussion or a debate with you, and not only that, just to make it worth your time, I'll give money to charity or your campaign, then it's all of a sudden catcalling if you suggest such a thing. It's pretty amazing.
Well, you know, I first saw that, and it didn't even make sense to me because of the use of the word catcall and the fact that you actually were asking her to have a civil conversation and a real debate. But she's not going to do it. Why do you think she's not going to do it, Ben?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of upside for her, to be frank. I mean, if she were to get into a discussion with somebody who asks her tough questions, I don't think she has the information or the philosophy at her disposal to actually answer those questions well. And she knows that, which is why her best move here would have been either to just ignore or to say no, and then everybody would have moved on with their life. But instead, it turned into her invoking victim status, which, you know, rallies the base. There's no question folks in the media are very excited about this. If you look at the leftist response to her tweet, it's Ocasio-Cortez responds the way every Democrat should respond to anybody on the right who wants to have a discussion. And then they wonder why more Americans are turning away from the intersectional left than ever.
Yeah, you know, Ben, one of the things that has always made us great is an appreciation for some kind of intellectual diversity, right? Being able to have civil debates, being able to share ideas. I mean, that's how we evolve. That's how we get better. But when one side isn't even willing to have the conversation, where does that leave us as a country?
Yeah, that is the serious problem. And what's absurd is there are a bunch of folks on the left who responded to this entire controversy by tweeting at me. These are mainstream left commentators saying, well, why don't you have me on your show? And I was like, okay. And they didn't really know how to respond to that because I'm happy to have conversations with folks on the left. I have conversations with folks on the left all the time. The left just doesn't want to open the Overton window enough to have conversations with anybody on the right.
Yeah, well, because they automatically assume they're right, you're wrong. And they don't want to be proven otherwise with any kind of factual knowledge. I mean, look, you know, I think if you go out and you ask anyone, and you know this better than Americans believe in opportunity, right, and prosperity. It's just in our DNA. It's part of what this country was founded on. But you go around the world, and whether you're talking about Venezuela, or you're talking about Cuba, you're even talking about Denmark, where they charge well over 50% in taxes at the federal rate. So everybody's working for the government, where you pay 180% tax on a car, which is more than the cost of a car. Or, you know, you go to college and get a stipend. They plan on 5 years, but everybody's taking 6+ years because you're being paid to go to a free college. It shows you, when you look at their debt levels, even in Denmark, it just doesn't work, does it?
Well, I mean, this is the serious problem with a lot of socialist philosophy, is that they're constantly shifting the goalposts. You know, is it that their education system is good, or their healthcare system is good? Or is it that all of these systems are built atop a capitalist edifice that made these countries prosperous in the first place? And these are the conversations that actually should be had. Yeah. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not interested in having them, obviously.
Hey, by the way, let me ask you about the harassment of conservative commentators. Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, what did you think about that one?
Well, I mean, obviously, that was insane. And I told Charlie I feel lucky that I eat in kosher restaurants where most of the people who are around me are members of my community, because I'd like to be able to get through a meal in peace. Apparently, Charlie and Candace cannot.
Well, you know, Ben, I'll tell you one thing. Had you debated her, my money's on you.
Well, it would have been fun. Would have been fun. Oh, well.
All right. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here.
You too.
First.
The Coalition for Trump, along with Turning Point USA Communications Director Candace Owens and the conservative millennial CRTV host Allie Beth Stuckey. All of you have challenged her to a debate. I've been reading all of your tweets. She has not, I don't think, responded. I want to go around the square here and ask. And Candace, I'll start with you, because you were offering her $100,000 to a charity of her choice, thanks to people who have contributed to Turning Point USA. Did you ever hear from her?
I did not hear from her, and this is not the first time that she's declined to debate me. She ignored a TV station which came forward and said that they would actually sponsor a conversation between the two of us. And I think that this indicates that she doesn't understand the platform upon which she stands for. It would make sense for her to want to come forward and defend her ideas, but of course her ideas do not make sense beyond on the paper, the utopian concepts that she preaches. So it's unfortunate, but I'm not surprised whatsoever.
Yeah, she put herself in this ring. I thought maybe she's young, maybe she's not ready for a debate, but she did run for office and she was elected, so we need to hear her thoughts. Kaya, I know you asked her to debate her. You put on Twitter, can I please debate you? Did you ever hear from her?
Not a penny, not a word. And, you know, I want her to debate at Politicon. You know, Politicon is going to be an open platform, very non-biased. So I was hoping that she would have responded, but nothing.
Why do you think she didn't?
I think she's scared to debate. I think that's the thing. The socialistic platform of the regime that she's thinking to bring into the American platform is just, I don't think she knows what she really is going to debate about. I think she's confused even. You know, some of the things she has said, she's not even sure about Nancy Pelosi, which is part of her team.
Allie Beth, you did that mock video over and you were hit for it. Why don't you think she's responding to you?
Exactly. Well, first of all, let's make something clear. She didn't deny Ben Shapiro's offer to debate based on sexism. She did it based on fear. And the ironic thing is that when I released that satirical interview just a couple weeks ago, she responded by accusing Republicans of being scared of her. While considering that she has ignored or denied all requests from conservative men and women to have a conversation about the pros and cons of socialism, I would say that it's not us that is scared of her. It is she that is scared of us.
That's interesting, because Nancy Pelosi said that Republicans were scared of her, too, in that interview on NBC. All right, let's look at this poll. This is a Gallup poll that Democrats view socialism more positively than they do capitalism. Unbelievable. Look at those numbers. 57% of the Democrats that were polled, they said they liked socialism. 47% said they liked capitalism. Those numbers have changed. In 2016, more Dems liked the idea of capitalism than socialism. It's changed by 9 points. Why this change? Is it because of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? I'll start with you, Candace.
I actually think it's because of the Democrats and their aggressive rhetoric in response to Trump winning the presidential election. They're going to have to contend with this. The more moderate Democrats, which I think is what Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters actually are, have been using aggressive rhetoric, accusing everybody of sexism and of racism. And what has been born of this aggressive rhetoric is this extreme left platform which wants to create a utopian society. A utopian society which believes that money can grow on trees, which of course we know it can't. Socialism has killed 100 million people in the last 100 years.
Yeah, do they not know what it's like to live in obviously they don't know what it's like to live in a socialist country, but we've had so many guests on, Kaya, that have told us what it's like, that these dictators kill their relatives. Do they just not know the correct definition? You have Paul Krugman in New York Times. He wrote this on Twitter. A funny thing happens when you demonize universal health care, nutritional aid, and unemployment benefits as socialism. Lots of people decide socialism is okay. Why do they think socialism is okay?
I think they think it's okay because they look at Canada and they see it works for there. You know, Canada has GST, PST tax. This is how they can fund all of their money growing on trees ideas, but it's not free. With every dime you spend in Canada, you're actually paying for all of those things. Lest we forget, these ideas of socialism is very anti what the foundation of America is about and very anti the platform that President Trump ran on. Their sole goal is to get rid of our military, get rid of our police, and they're feeding rhetoric to the American people, fueling an internal war, which is very scary.
Hallie Beth, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, you know, I think that Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leadership are unfortunately going to have to get on board with socialism. This is no longer the party of the working man as it used to be maybe a few decades ago. It's the party of free stuff, and they're going to have to get on that train or they're going to get voted out.
Okay, well, if Alexandria is watching, I invite her to come on Fox News and we'll have a debate. She can choose one of you or all three of you. Maybe we could get Bernie Sanders to come on with her, and then y'all could debate, both of them. We'll see.
That would be fun. That would be a nightmare for them, but fun.